Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So today we're going to have a look at some of the Linux media software. So one of the things that my Linux computers does do for me is I run media files, either playing some audio, watching some videos, getting on YouTube, things like that. So what we're going to do is have a look at, through the Ubuntu system, we're going to have a look at several of the different programs available to interact with your media files. So as you move into the Linux platform, one thing to realize is that the MP3 file type that we are also used to is actually a proprietary system. So you need to make a decision for yourself if you're going to continue to use MP3s or if you want to move to like the OGG file, which is kind of a full open source media file, very similar. So for me, I'll tell you that I've just decided I'm sticking with MP3 unless there's a very good reason to change. And the reason is, although I don't listen to a whole ton of music, I do have a very wide and large sermon collection, and I have been archiving that for a good 12 or more years. So I have about 30 gigabytes over there. And then since I installed a NAS drive at my house to serve all my media, I did go ahead and put all my music on MP3s as well. Now, one of the reasons I chose MP3 is there was a while back when I thought, hey, why not try WMA when I was using Windows? Because it would, by default, you put a disk into Windows XP or Windows Vista or 7, you could extract it as a WMA file through Windows Media Player. When I did that a few times, I noticed some incompatibility issues, that not everything would play a WMA and not everything would play a WMA well. Additionally, I did not have the kilohertz range that I wanted, because when I'm doing sermons and stuff, I actually don't use a super high quality. I use about a 60 hertz or whatever it is. I use 60 there. Whereas if you do music, you probably want to do at least 128. And I do 60 because I'm not looking for a large quality of massive sound. I want something that is small enough to not be massively huge with the quantity of things that I use, but I want something that doesn't sound bad. And I settled on 60 for that application. So when I ripped everything onto my computers on MP3s, then I decided to go with the 128 so that I would get a little bit better quality. Now, I looked at several different devices, and I use MP3s. I will stream things to various devices, like your phones, or I put things on a media center, such as Kodi is what I use on my Linux Mint KDE computer, and I also use it for my home media center. I use Kodi for that. And so that works well with everything. I also have an MP3 player, and I have a car that plays MP3 CDs. So I checked on the MP3 player that I have, and I believe it will play the OGG files. I really don't know if my car stereo will. And I'd rather not rip a whole bunch of things onto the OGG format to find out that it doesn't. Now, eventually, as technologies change, probably the next car that I have is going to have something more to the ability of either a Bluetooth device or something I can plug the MP3 player or the phone directly into, so that I can listen to whatever format that device will play. But for the meantime, I personally have just decided to stick with MP3. You may disagree with that, so whatever. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is I'm going to show you how to rip a CD. So what I've installed here is Ripper X, and I believe that this will allow you to rip to MP3. I did not see options for anything else. So when you put a CD in the drive, which I've already done, it will go online and it will grab the information. So we can rip directly to a WAV file, or we can encode it. So there's some different options up here. This is one of those little problems that I've always had with Ubuntu. There is a menu up there, and frequently I have to fight with the thing to actually get to it. And no, I'm sorry, never mind. The menu on this was the config. Oh well. I don't use this all the time anymore. You know, I haven't ripped a CD since I did my whole collection over a year ago. And I haven't had that menu issue since I upgraded to 1610. So you click on the configuration, and here's our options. So I can format the track number inside of it I can shoot it into a target directory. So I can make everything here pretty much how I want. And this for me was pretty nice because I like keeping my music library in an order that makes sense to me. I absolutely hate the automatic media library systems, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Now, I did allow this thing, I did not want to go through and edit manually edit anything on multiple CDs, and since music is not a huge part of my life anyway, I just said, whatever it wants to do, I'll do, and if anything drives me too crazy, I'll fix it later. So I came on and I think I used mostly the default settings. Maybe it looks like I did do 224K instead of 128K. I used the 64 on my sermons, and generally I'd use something greater than that for the CDs. I think I probably used all the default settings inside of here. This is the database that I was pulling the information from, so it would automatically look for things. And then I had this set to automatically check for things on startup. Now, generally, that's not something that I like to do, but in this case, just ripping a few hundred CDs, I wanted to make it as easy on myself as possible, so I went ahead and did that. And then here it's going to create the album subdirectory for each CD. I did tell it to create the ID3 tag. And I cannot remember if this took the album art. I think my album art got wiped out when I did a bleach bit run, not watching what exactly I was clearing. So I set up all the configurations how I wanted. If it did not automatically look for the information online, you could push the scan. And then here you can make any adjustments to it. You can actually come down here and put in any adjustments you might want to do onto the tag. So you can make all those adjustments, and then you hit go, and then it will go ahead and start ripping. So what I did with these is I put them all into the music folder. And so here I have my music folder, where I just have the various CDs that I have installed. So on many cases, I wanted to, one of the things I like to do frequently is just keep things in a decent order. So if there were things like The Wall on Pink Floyd, which is a 2-disc set, at least back when I bought it in the 90s, then it actually gave me 2 discs, and it will break it apart into the 2 discs like it did the Bastille album here. And I like to combine the albums. This one here, I kept them separate if it was an album that was like, there's not a real good reason. But The Wall tells a whole story, and so I wanted to combine those. So there was a lot of manually editing those files just to make some adjustments and to keep things a little bit clean. But you can see that. So you can see my music taste really hasn't changed much over the years. I really haven't listened to music much since college, maybe. So, but I went ahead and wanted to put all those things onto there and, hey, maybe get a renewed sense of music. I don't know. Not really, but, it's neat to have everything in a format. In another video, I'll talk about how I do it, because what I have now is I took everything onto this, and then I put that onto a central NAS drive with a server, and now any device that's connected to my internet, there is actually a server that I can access. And when I do that access, like for example on a smartphone, I will use VLC. And if I go into my server there, I have if it autofocuses, there you go, the DLNA server on OMV. That's actually a MIDI server. I can click into there. I can browse any folders that I want. And then, so for example, if I want to listen to any music, I generally just go right into my music, because I keep things so organized. Even before automatic library organization existed, I kept things organized. And then, of course, being a person that did a lot of things with sermon things, I would just get a whole bunch of stuff. Like, it'd be like automatic file systems would be making all sorts of changes to my files. I'm just like, stop. So I turned off pretty much all of that. But anyway, it is a useful thing. But occasionally you are going to get some files that don't have the coding just as you like, and I'm going to show you how you can clean stuff up. So as far as fixing your tags, there's a few different tagging programs. One of those is EasyTag. And I don't really care for the EasyTag program because it is a automatic thing. So what it's doing here, it's going to scan through my entire library here, and it's actually going to make some changes to my files. So you can see here it's doing automatic corrections for all these files here. And the problem is it does not tell me what it's automatically correcting. As far as I know, every file here is correctly put in. So apparently these are the things that it wants to change. I have no idea what it wants to change. Now maybe I'll come in here and make some adjustments. I imagine it might be adding things like genre, which I do not care about in the slightest. Maybe it's making some changes to years. In some cases, it may very well be changing a structure that I don't like. And so this thing's all automatic. There are ways to turn off the automatic, but for me, EasyTag's not my preferred system, although a lot of people do like it. The system that I like is it's called Kid 3, and I like this platform because it is a program that will allow me to make any adjustments just basically manually. So I can go back and I can find my full music directory. If I can remember exactly how to get back to my full music directory there. Okay, there you go. Just kind of navigating down here. So here's where you can select individual files. And I know that there's some Gorillaz files in here that I really want to clean up. So there's a couple different music players. The default music player on most Linux systems is Rhythmbox, which I, again, don't like. I really like the old platform that was very similar to the Windows media player. And so Banshee is very much like that. For me, this has grown on me a little bit in that you can put podcasts into it. You can put online radio stations into it. So there's a lot of things that this can do. And it is fairly clean. I just like something that's a little bit more graphical than this. But this is just fine. So you can see here that under my artists, I'm getting Booty Brown semicolon Gorillaz. So this is one of the things that is a unfortunate side effect of having automatic tagging, because again, I did not check all these tags as I put things in. And so it's giving me all these extra artists if I were to do an artist search, which I do occasionally do. And so that's some of the files I want to change. So just come in here and you can find any of the albums here. Double click on a file, it'll play. Again, I'm not going to play any music files if at all I can help it. Now the system that I like the most is Banshee, which I've installed on this system here. And what I like about the Banshee system is that it will give me a little bit more of a graphical system. You'll see that not all of my systems here are actually downloading the music art. I've been working on that, and many of these, if I play it, it will actually start to download the art. That's what I've found here. There is a couple of ways that you can attempt to download all the art. And this is, of course, if your library is created without art. If your library is created with art in it and all that, you're going to have all your art automatically. And I did this double checking it by going to my Linux Mint KDE computer, because that actually pulls from my NAS drive, not from the actual files on the computer. And so here on Banshee, I like that you can have this grid setting, but there's also the ability to come over and make adjustments under preferences. What you can do is you can disable this album grid there if you don't like that album grid, so you can do that. And then here you'll have everything in a list like this. So here I can select the artists from here, and then I can see all of the albums. So let me go down to Pink Floyd, where I have a lot of albums there, one of my old favorite bands. So here you can see I have a lot of different albums. It's not downloading all the album art there, but you can see that that's kind of how that organization works. I do like the album grid, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that turned on. And then we can sort by an album's year, not by the title, for those of you that really like going things by the year instead. the chronological release dates, you can do that as well. And then you can add various sources into the library also. So on my Linux Mint KDE, I've just created a mounted source file that whenever that computer loads up, it automatically mounts my NAS drive music file, and then that feeds the music library directly into Banshee here. So that is just a little bit about that. Now let's have a look at fixing this Gorillaz. You can see that the Gorillaz files was really making some adjustments. So this guy here, what we're going to do is we're going to find these. So this is under the Gorillaz clean. And then if I look at the individual files, this is where my problem is the artist gets double inserted there. So we're going to go ahead and make any adjustments. You'll see that once I make the change, there's a button there that says that the thing has changed a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll go through this CD and make some changes. We'll just do it this way. I'm just going to copy that because I'm sure there's a few of these that are going to come up like that. All right. So there, hopefully we have all of the albums there. You can see these guys here are the ones that need saved, so I can look at those to see what it is I need to save, and then click the save button up here at the top. That should save everything. And now if I come up to Banshee and I rescan the library, it should hopefully take care of those. If it doesn't, I might just need to remove those individual files and then add them back to the library. Let's see. Gorillaz and Lou Reed together. That's an interesting combo. There we are. Now we're going to rescan the music library, and hopefully that will bring back the files. Looks like a few of those might have been not from that album, but yeah, a few of them are not. Or there's another line that I missed somewhere. Let's see, artist, and there's an artist there too. Okay, that's that. I missed the second artist tag. We can just copy all these, come over to artist, paste the Gorillaz in. That's what our problem was. Move these from the library. Okay, we're still getting a few of them. I gotta see which I'm missing some tags somewhere. Artist. Maybe it's doing a contributing artist somewhere and pulling that in as well. This is I think some of the unfortunate parts about some of these. Either that or it's a caching issue. But and are all these from the correct? Oh, nope. That did actually resolve all those, but I resolved them only from the ones in the clean albums there. So we're going to come over here. We're going to repeat the process for each of these, finding all of these that are not artist. So you can see that only 4 of those were changed there, and then we're going to come over into Plastic Beach and do the same process. The fun part about doing these videos the way I do them is I don't generally script stuff or try everything to the nth degree. I just don't have the time for that. But hopefully you can see that this is pretty easy to work with. I'm going to try rescanning the library first, see if it takes those out. Said it may still be the matter that I need to remove them. Oh, nope, it did exactly what I wanted it to. So now if I click on gorillas, now I can actually see each of these individual ones there. Okay, and if I remember correctly, I want to pull this up. I'm just going to work around the camera view there. Okay, that's good. So now if you click on one of these, you'll see that all the tags there. So now all of the artists and everything is good and consistent. So that's how you can make some adjustments to your individual items. That's why I like the Kid 3. It's a very nice manual system. It's not going to automatically do anything. Now again though, if you have a whole bunch of music files that you need to tag, you might very well want to start out with the EasyTag and then let that make all the changes. In my case, I'm pretty good about keeping my media up to date how I want it, and so that's kind of how that part works. So that is just a little bit about the media systems that you can use. Banshee's the one I prefer. I do like the Rhythmbox for the ability to do the podcast integrations. Banshee might be able to do that, but I don't recall. I don't use many podcasts. But this platform is pretty nice. So we looked at the ripping, we looked at the file organization, we looked at the tags, and then we have the media. And of course on these, if I just click on any of these, it's going to automatically play our file for us. Let me just do that real quick, and then we'll pause that just in case. All right. So that's how easy it is to manage your music. Now on Ubuntu, of course, if you start playing something, let me find something that's not going to be like super copyrighted. Let me see. I think I have it listed under classical. I'm going to look for some Tchaikovsky. There you go. 1812 Overture. I shouldn't get any DCMA for that, hopefully. All right, but anyway, so on Ubuntu here, I can play that and minimize, and of course it minimizes to the tray here. Many of your Linux distros will have the ability to look at what is playing from the taskbar or other system here. So you can see if I come up to the volume here, that I can see that Banshee's there, right on the volume. So I can actually come up and open it up by coming over here. And then you can see that Banshee is playing. I'm going to minimize that. You can see that from here, let's see, I think this one's controlling the Rhythmbox. So I can play Rhythmbox on Ubuntu, not the Banshee. But here I can make adjustments to the volume like that. Many of your Linux distros, pretty much any of the music players you can embed into the volume systems, and you can control them right here from the side. I know with Linux Mint KDE, I can do that with Rhythmbox, Banshee, or any of the other major media players. There's a few other ones we haven't talked about. VLC, I'll generally use that for doing movies, because that can go right onto my my NAS drive. And I also use VLC on all of my phones and on my Mac if I'm wanting to stream videos from my NAS drive. You can do that. So that's just a little bit about music management on Ubuntu, and this also applies to other Linux distros. So with that, I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.